I'm just gonna come out and say it. Zombies are boring as shit. This is water. They're overused, cheap, and their popularity is just an amalgamation of the cringy pop culture landscape of the early 2010s. That being said, the original Night of the Living Dead is still a masterpiece nearly 60 years later, but apart from that, boring as shit. But what if I, a horror gay, told you that there's another zombie movie out there that's not only not boring as shit, but possibly one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life? In 1999, Japanese music video director Tetsuro Takeuchi directed a movie called Wild Zero, a horror comedy about zombies being defeated through the power of a Japanese punk band called Guitar Wolf. The closest we've come to that since then is when SpongeBob freed the enslaved masses through the power of Twisted Sister about 5 years later. That scene is legendary, and this movie is even cooler than that. Like, cooler than you or I will ever be. Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis, Coke Francis. I'm an editor, comedy writer, drag artist, and I'm here because love knows no borders, nationalities, or genders. But don't take it from me. Some people have compared Wild Zero to the likes of Rock and Roll High School or some of Quentin Tarantino's movies, but in a metaphor first coined by that kid from the X-Ray Specs commercial, John Mulaney, that's like comparing a bird in an airport to a horse in a hospital, because you really can't compare Wild Zero to anything else you've seen. It's the most chaotic side of Japanese camp comedy embodied in 100 minutes of non-stop punk rock fun. I can't really describe it better than Ian Berryman's review of it for SFX magazine. The sort of film that makes you want to down a bottle of vodka, throw your TV out the window, set your house on fire, and pogo naked on the roof screaming, If that doesn't intrigue you, you're beyond repair. I don't know what to tell you. If it does intrigue you, and if you're a fan of watching a very tired drag queen talk about nerd shit forever, I ask that you please go to your nearest zombie apocalypse. When you get there, instead of grabbing your gun, grab your sword instead. By sword I mean your penis. Then unzip your pants and dick slap those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. So without further ado, let's get into this absolute masterpiece of a film. Now, there's a drinking game that goes with this movie, where you drink every time something explodes, when fire shoots out of something, when the main character combs his hair, and anytime someone shouts, I wanted to play it while filming this as a fun gimmick, but unfortunately, I have work tomorrow at 9 a.m. like a boring grown-up, and my AC is broken. Dear God help me, this wig is so heavy. So we get this killer Plan 9 from outer space intro, and after a radio tells us that a meteor has just crashed into Earth, we meet our protagonist, Ace, who's combing his hair for the first, and definitely not last, time. He and I absolutely worship a Japanese punk band called Guitar Wolf, which is actually a real band, and whose members include Guitar Wolf, this guy, Bass Wolf, and Drum Wolf. Ace combs his hair a few more times and then goes to a Guitar Wolf concert, which I would literally give my left nut to see. Seriously, this is the most rockin' 360p footage you will ever see. Also, the lyrics are way better than anything I've ever written from back when I was in a band. Meanwhile, some nefarious activity is going on backstage with Guitar Wolf's manager and his buddies. Their manager is only known as the Captain, who's a really entertaining piece of shit who's never not rocking a wig and booty shorts. That sounds so familiar. So, since Guitar Wolf saw that the captain's henchman was taking advantage of a woman, they do not stand for that shit. So they go backstage and end up in a Mexican standoff. As the movie goes on, you'll soon see just how based this band is. Imagine having this hair and telling people what to do. Meanwhile, Ace's plan has been to also go backstage to talk to the captain with hopes of becoming an awesome rocker too. But when he overhears the captain say that rock and roll is over, that does not slap with Ace, so he bursts through the door to say otherwise. And hilarity ensues. But Ace's efforts don't go unnoticed. After taking a punch for him, Guitar Wolf declares Ace a rock and roll blood brother and gives him a special whistle to use in case he ever needs his help again. Adios, amigo! Rock and roll! God damn it, Guitar Wolf is so fucking cool. Oh yeah, and his motorcycle always has flames coming out of it. Just go with it. Don't worry about it. This movie follows a few different subplots with different characters, and this is where we're introduced to all of them before they kind of like join together in the end. We're introduced to Yamazaki, an arms dealer with ties to the Yakuza, and we meet Tobio, the prettiest tomboy on the planet, who just made this weird guy run in the opposite direction for some reason. We also meet Hanako and Toshi, a couple who spends nearly all their time bitching at each other, and Masao, who has to listen to it. After combing his hair again, Ace accidentally prevents them from robbing this gas station, which Masao does not deal with well. Ace meets and immediately falls head over heels for Tobio, whose feelings are mutual. It results in a meet cute that's actually cute. Like, really cute. Throughout history, Japan has consistently handed our asses to us in all things cute, and they do it again here. It melts my cold gay heart. We're introduced to the main external conflict of this film, which is zombies. Like I said, Wild Zero is a zombie movie I'm jazzed on, but to be honest, they are far from the most interesting aspect of this movie. Ace rolls up next to some zombies, and as he starts to escape, he debates whether or not he should go back and save Tobio. That is, until a vision of his rock and roll blood brother shows up on a flaming motorcycle and convinces him to do the right thing. This actually happens to me too, except it's with Latrice Royale. We cut back to this crew, and while Hanako and Toshi argue about seeing the meteor crash, Masao doesn't stand a chance against this horde of zombies. Rest in power, you beautiful Spike Spiegel-haired bastard. We finally catch up to this bad bitch who's living the American dream by having a gun at the ready next to her shower. And Guitar Wolf plays another slappin' show. Also, apparently his microphone shoots flames out of it too. Just stop asking questions. Don't worry about it. Even though he barely knows her, Ace breaks down and pours his heart out to Tobio, and the two share a kiss. Hell yeah, my guy. All is well, until Ace finds out that the girl of his dreams has, well, the same equipment he does, which explains why that other guy had run away from Tobio at the beginning. It's really hard to watch that moment when Ace recoils in horror and poor Tobio is left feeling dejected again. That is, until another vision of Guitar Wolf appears. The following clip is one of the best scenes in the history of cinema, and I'm so glad I get to share it with you all today. Guitar Wolf ain't having any of your transphobia today, Ace. Before we move on though, Mr. Wolf, would you mind just yelling Ace's name again for me, please? S! Ah, so good. Sorry, one more time. S! Ah, perfect. Thank you. Moving on. Anyway, this, combined with zombies still following him everywhere, is a lot to process for my man Ace, who feels really guilty over how he reacted towards Tobio. And that's when he pulls out that whistle that Guitar Wolf gave him. But like, there's no way he'd actually be able to hear that, right? Okay, so Guitar Wolf has gone from being just super cool to literally being superhuman. Just go with it, dude. Don't worry about it. While Guitar Wolf hightails it to rescue Ace, Tobio escapes the zombie hordes and sees something quite unusual, which is a spaceship. probably full of aliens. So it is confirmed there are also aliens in this zombie movie. So once again, I ask, just go with it, dude. Don't worry about it. This mini monologue is more important than you might realize, but we'll get to that later. High on anger, adrenaline, and his love for Tobio, Ace goes on a zombie killing spree with a crowbar. I think he's clearly proven that he isn't. Hanako and Toshi help Mr. Wolf find Ace because that is the only thing on his mind right now, while Bass and Drum Wolf give them a ride. Meanwhile, the captain is hunting down Guitar Wolf following the events from earlier and is rocking a fresh wig and booty shorts. So Yamazaki rolls up in this Jeep-turned tank or something, and Guitar Wolf is so unfazed by these zombies that he pulls out this seemingly endless supply of picks of destiny and knocks down all the zombies with them. God damn it, he's so cool. Act 3 has begun, and all the characters have finally come together in Yamazaki's weapon arsenal. But poor Toshi gets the bite and passes it on to Hanako. And despite their non-stop fighting, she knows she'll be with him after death and is still willing to die for him. And she does. Wow, this is weirdly sad. Shit! Another random power that Guitar Wolf has, apparently his guitar works without even having to plug it in, which makes sense actually. But he continues his search for Ace while Bass and Drum Wolf hang back in the car and enjoy the show. Guitar Wolf lets out a literal howl. And finally reunites with his rock and roll blood brother, who tells him about what happened with Tobio. It turns out, Guitar Wolf believes in love, yes, but more importantly, believes in the power of rock and roll, as well as also yelling my favorite thing. S! After popping a bunch of pills, the captain tries to take down Mr. Wolf with a rocket launcher, seemingly forgetting that this man is literally invincible and can land on his knees while jumping out of an exploding building, and even has time to tune his guitar. And he howls again. God damn it, he's so fucking cool. That Magic Whistle's powers are seemingly endless too, because they somehow transferred to the captain after a battle. Apparently, the whistle gave him eye lasers. Just stop asking questions. Go with it. Don't worry about it. Me when I got home from DragCon. Eye lasers included. While Ace reunites with Tobio, we also get to see Hanako reunite with Toshi after death, just as she said she would. Though this is more like undeath. Either way, this scene is way more touching than it has any right to be, and I ended up liking these two way more than I had expected. Once again, this movie's melting my cold, gay heart. So far, this movie has everything. Punk rock, aliens, zombies, aliens turning people into zombies, trans acceptance, zombie kisses, magical rape whistles, guitar swords. Hold up. His guitar is a sword. No, it's a sword, but it's like in a guitar. He pulls a sword out of his guitar, uses it to gut an alien spaceship like a fish, then puts it back inside the guitar. It's a guitar that is also a sword. Now, this begs the question, is this a guitar first or a sword first? The answer is yes. Meanwhile, Ace professes his love to Tobio, and the two share a kiss as the spaceship explodes in the background. Show me a better ending to a movie than this. I'll wait. By defeating the mothership, all of the zombies drop dead, and Guitar Wolf has saved the planet from an alien takeover. This might be the closest thing we'll ever get to Kiss Save Santa from Family Guy, which is something I've wanted for a very long time. He then gives Ace his comb and then rides off on his flaming motorcycle. Ace explains that he never saw Guitar Wolf again after that day, but his words of wisdom persisted, and Ace and Tobio live happily ever after together. My cold gay heart is fully melted. When all is said and done, there's no reason for this not to be my favorite movie. Whether you like it or not, this movie has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes it the scientifically polar opposite of almost every John Travolta movie. There have been a couple videos made about Wild Zero already, but I feel like they don't address its queerness nearly enough, which is arguably one of the most important aspects of the film, more than the zombies anyway. The storyline of Ace accepting Tobio the way she is hugely progressive for a film made in Japan in the 1990s, or anywhere in the world really. Japan doesn't have a history of being particularly hostile towards homosexuality, but it is still pretty frowned upon. The public attitude towards the LGBTQ community has improved, but its governmental legislation doesn't exactly reflect that. Japan is still the only country in the group of 7 that doesn't recognize same-sex marriages or allow same-sex couples to adopt, and as of 2021, sexual orientation and gender identity aren't covered under national civil rights and most discrimination laws. I too have been personally affected by this, because JRPGs won't let me romance other boys even when they pull shit like this, and I complain about it daily. Hashtag first world American problems, hashtag do I even have the right to be talking about this as an American. Trans issues were even more foreign. Hell, even the US was still trying to figure out the concept of bisexuality at the time. It still is, apparently. So for Wild Zero to not only feature a trans character who isn't the butt of a joke, like other films in the 90s.
Oh my god! Einhorn is a man!
But to see a cisgender character overcome his transphobia and embrace that trans character with loving open arms is kind of groundbreaking stuff, and still is. There's a reason Ace has a breakdown at one point. He's questioning everything he believes in, he wants to follow the holy path of Guitar Wolf, there are zombies and aliens everywhere and nobody knows why, and as we just discussed earlier, the girl he's madly in love with has different plumbing than he was expecting. There's a lot going on right now for this nice young man. In addition to the insane plot and concept of this movie, it also makes a number of stylistic choices that seem to not make sense at first, but that's actually exactly the point. Similarly to how we, the audience, have no choice but to just buckle up for the ride and accept all the crazy, nonsensical shit being thrown our way, Ace's situation is comparable. It's what my therapist calls radical acceptance. This is actually the perfect COVID movie, not because of the zombies, but relating to that sheer inability to comprehend what the fuck is going on right now in such crazy, unprecedented times. And in that journey of radical acceptance amidst the confusion, Ace realizes that love conquers all. Wild Zero is completely chaotic, and so is life itself. In the words of the late great true crime writer Michelle McNamara, it's chaos. Be kind. It results in one of the purest, most wholesome declarations of love on screen. That's what convinces Ace to stay with Tobio, and not just the wise words of Guitar Wolf. Though even if the latter were the sole reason for him doing so, it would be justified because this is still one of the greatest scenes in the history of moving pictures. Guitar Wolf says trans rights, and you'd better fucking listen. We stan our progressive Japanese king. Another thing I didn't expect was the payoff with Hanako and Toshi. They start out as an angry couple existing purely just for comic relief, but Hanako becomes an unexpected tragic character when she's literally willing to die for Toshi. When they reunite as zombies and kiss one last time, in a way it's dumb, but it's also bittersweet and sad and beautiful, once again, proving that love conquers all. God damn it, this movie is way more touching than it has any right to be. No matter how ridiculous it might be, it's done with so much unbridled enthusiasm and genuine heart that you can't help but join the fun. It's simultaneously progressive and transgressive. It's not so bad it's good, it's so dumb it's cool. This is also because Guitar Wolf gives off secondhand coolness just by existing, but I digress. And you know what else is super cool? The winning comment from the last video. Pterodox says, usually with longer form YouTube videos, I tend not to engage or watch as much when it's about stuff I haven't seen, but with your videos, I've always found myself not only interested, but also a million times more encouraged to check out the things you showcase. Love you. My sole purpose on this planet is to preach the gospel of the Church of the Kids in the Hall, so I'm glad I was able to convert another. And I love you too. You too can be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below and I will pick my favorite one and give you a shout out next time. Wild Zero is on YouTube for free, so there's really no excuse to not immediately close this tab and go and watch it yourself. But before you do, I ask that you please go to your nearest zombie apocalypse. When you get there, instead of grabbing your gun, grab your sword instead. By sword, I mean your penis, then unzip your pants and dick slap those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. And, as always, until next time.